Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us to make calls. I'm feeling so emotional seeing you all introduce yourselves in the chat. Thank you for telling us who you are, where you're from. And thank you for joining us to make calls today to demand action, to stop the genocide, to stop the starvation of our beloveds in Gaza, and to block the bombs to genocidal Israel. We're going to be recording this session so that others who couldn't be here today can view it and take action with us. And we want to make sure that you know that, so that if you feel that you want to change your name to just your first name or to turn off your video, that you're free to do so. I want to go over just some ground rules. Since this is such a big crowd and we are seeing more and more people pour in, this is an anti-oppressive space. Any racism, Zionism, sexism, Islamophobia, or other oppressive language in the chat will result in automatic ejection from the event. Harassment will not be tolerated and will result in automatic removal from the event. And we want you to connect with each other, but please just be mindful that we're expecting over 1,000 people on this event today. So use the chat to respond to prompts and questions. If you want to follow up with a specific participant, you may reply to them. And if you experience any harassment or you see any violations of these community agreements, let us know. We're really pleased to have you here today, and we know that you are people that have been taking action for some time. We are here today in deep mourning, but we also remain defiant. We remain in full solidarity, and we have a shared responsibility to act. As you all know, what's happening in Gaza is not a mystery. Israeli leaders have openly stated that they are using mass starvation as a weapon against the civilian population. Borders are sealed, humanitarian aid is blocked, and in collaboration with the Trump regime and with the entire US establishment, Palestinians have been funneled into death traps, forced to risk their lives just to feed their families. And while the humanitarian crisis unfolds, the US continues to send bombs, ammunition, funding, and offer political support, 100% political support to continue the genocide. But we, the people, have the power to stop this, and we demand that Congress take action. Progressive lawmakers, as many of you know, have introduced the Block the Bills bill, a crucial organizing tool to pressure elected officials to take a stand and to end the flow of weapons to Israel. Over the past few weeks, we've seen something shift. The world is waking up. More people are speaking out, using their voices, organizing their communities, and pressuring leaders like never before. And because of that pressure, we've seen new members of Congress finally step forward to co-sponsor the Block the Bombs bill. We have a unique opportunity right now to push our own representatives to do the same. Public opinion is on our side. A recent CNN poll showed that more than half of Americans and 71% of Democrats believe that Israel has gone too far. 60% of Democrats say the US should reduce or end military aid altogether. That is a call for sanctions. This is no longer a fringe position. It is a mainstream demand for justice. At the same time, the consequences for those who speak truth to power are dire. On Sunday night, 6 Palestinian journalists were assassinated by Israel in a targeted airstrike on their media tent outside a Shifa hospital in Gaza City. Among them was Anasa Sharif, just 28 years old, the most recognizable Palestinian journalist still reporting from Gaza. He remained in the north through relentless shelling, becoming a vital voice for the world, a voice of clarity, of courage, and of resistance. Just an hour before he was killed, Anas wrote, "If this madness does not end, Gaza will be reduced to ruins, its people's voices silenced, their faces erased. And history will remember you as silent witnesses to a genocide you chose not to stop. Minutes later, his voice was silenced. 5 others died with him: Mohammed Kareke, Ibrahim Zahir, Mu'min Alawiya, Mohammed Nofel, and Mohammed Al-Khalidi. Their murders bring the number of journalists killed in Gaza to at least 270. We are not watching only a genocide unfold, but also the deliberate assassination of the people documenting it. And still, our government sends more weapons. This madness must end. This webinar is not just about bearing witness, it's about taking action. And we are urging every single person here to call your members of Congress, demand that they co-sponsor the Block the Bombs bill, demand an immediate end to US complicity, tell them that their silence is complicity, and that you refuse to be silent while communities are being wiped off the map. Throughout today's session, we'll share tools to help you make those calls, share them widely, and organize in your communities. Let this be a space of clarity, courage, and commitment. We have not done enough to let despair take over. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your commitments. And now I have the honor of introducing someone who has used her platform, her voice, and even her body to stand up against injustice. Cynthia Nixon is an actress, theater director, and activist. You know her from And Just Like That and The Gilded Age, but I know her as someone who stood outside the White House on a 5-day hunger strike in January 2024. It was very cold. And she was there to demand a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Cynthia, we're so grateful to have you here today. It's an honor that you chose to be here. And I wonder if I could ask you, how did you get involved in activism to stop the genocide in Gaza?
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to the Adalah Justice Project, to Jewish Voices for Peace, to for U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights, to everyone on this call. I will echo what Sandra said. Watching everyone come into this call from all corners of this country and Canada, I was incredibly moved. So in answer to your question, Sandra, I, of course, was horrified by what happened on October 7th, not just because of what happened to Israelis, but because of what I knew would follow. And very soon, my son, I have 3 children, and 2 of them are the grandsons of Holocaust survivors. And my son lives in Chicago, where he is very active in Jewish Voices for Peace. He himself was on a hunger strike earlier this summer and has been arrested and has made so many speeches. But he reached out to my wife and I and said, please, I am doing everything I can to bring attention and to call for a ceasefire and to stop the attacks. But you have a bigger platform than I do. Please, it's not something he ever asked me, but he said, please do whatever you can to bring attention and to say this must stop, not in our name. And he said many things about weaponizing Jewish trauma. And he just said so clearly, as so many people say, never again means never again for anyone. So I will just say that things are in Gaza and in Palestine, I think, are worse than they have ever been. But it is specifically because they are so terrible, because we have so many hundreds of thousands of people on the brink of starvation, that world attention is focused like never before. And as Sandra said, I think we can all feel it shift. Like there is something, people who have never spoken out are speaking out now. And so I just want to say, so many of us have done what we can do. We have talked to our friends, we've talked to our neighbors, we've talked to the people we worship with, we've taken to the streets, we've hunger struck, we've made speeches, we've written letters, we've signed petitions. But in this moment, there is, I think, nothing more valuable than bombarding our Congresspeople to sign on to this legislation to stop arming Israel. We could feel that. We could feel it. I'm old enough to remember the shift in South Africa when finally world opinion was so focused and things that had seemed so deadlocked began to move. And I think we are at this moment because of the work of so many people on this call and because of the just how horrendous things are. So I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for doing everything you have done up to this point, and know that what you will do today by writing and calling your congresspeople, I think is the most important thing that we can do right now. It is so hard to feel that anyone is listening, but that is what the other side wants you to feel, that you're not making an impact. And I think we all need to keep pushing and yelling and calling and taking to the streets, because something is shifting and we can feel it, and we have to make it happen before so many more, I'll in closing, I'll just say, they roughly 28 children in Palestine die every day. An entire classroom of children. And we have the power. We have the power to stop this. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Thank you for your heart. And thank you for just being a mom and listening to your kid. That's so beautiful, and your humanity. I hope you're seeing the love in the chat. And thanks for making me cry. Now it's my honor to introduce another fierce voice for justice. Denée Benton is a Tony-nominated powerhouse, known for her dynamic performances both on screen and stage. You may know her for her incredible work on Broadway, or for her role alongside Cynthia in HBO's The Gilded Age. What a great show. But beyond the stage and screen, Denée has used her platform with courage and conviction. She joined us in January 2024 in front of the White House on a hunger strike in the cold, calling for a permanent ceasefire. And we're so grateful to have you with us today. Please join me in welcoming Denée. Denée Benton. Denée, could you, hey, I wonder if you could, give us a few words about what opened your eyes to the realities of what's happening in Gaza.
Um, I come from a bloodline where every person in my bloodline is a survivor of state violence for generations and generations. And either directly or passively, in a lot of the things I had read growing up, there was always a connection between our liberation struggle and what was happening in Palestine. But I do think that obviously, after October 7th, there was such a big call to share on social media what was also happening. And there was a big push for the propaganda of who deserved comfort and who didn't. And being a part of our industry, I felt a sense of real conviction to say what felt like the truth. And then I was lucky enough to be in relationship with people like Cynthia, who were able to call me into some more direct actions outside of what I was just kind of sharing or amplifying. And honestly, I don't know, my soul was just moved when, in the ways I think everyone hears, your soul is moved by anything that happens to anyone means it can also happen to us. There's not a separation. And I think that just felt really clear to me that the more they lull us to sleep, the more power we give. And we can't go down. If we go down, we're going down swinging, I think is where I've come to when it comes to whether or not we can move the needle And then I honestly, in my own bouts with despair and wondering, I was really bolstered by the fact that Germany, who is the second largest arms dealer to Israel, has vowed to pause. And I'm like, they're late and that's not nothing. And if it can be Germany, it can be us. And so that's why I'm here. And I'm really thankful. I'm really moved by how many people are still feeling enlivened by this fight.
Denée, thank you so much. You're a credit to the entertainment industry, and thank you for just always being such a beautiful soul and for standing with us. We're just so honored.
I'm really honored to be with people who've been in this fight for decades, to be honest. I feel thankful to get to take up any space here.
Thank you for lending your platform and, yeah, your voice. I'm so honored now to welcome someone also from the Gilded Age who has consistently used his voice and platform to speak truth. Morgan Spector, a celebrated actor, currently, I've heard people are calling you Railroad Daddy, currently headlining in HBO's The Gilded Age. But beyond your work on the screen, he's become a powerful and outspoken advocate for Palestinian liberation and an end to the genocide in Gaza. In a time when many remain silent, Morgan has chosen courage and is calling out injustice and standing firmly on the side of humanity. We're so grateful to have you with us today, Morgan. Um, I want to ask you the same question. What moved you to speak up and take action?
Mm. Well, first, I want to thank you and all the organizers of this call, because you have given me, and I think everyone here, a way to take action, a way to take this feeling that's in our body that this like urgent injustice is being done, and try to do something with it, other than just speak or post, to try to do something that can actually have an effect. I'm incredibly grateful to you for doing that, and for everyone who is involved in this struggle against what has been decades long injustice. I am always struck by the kind of revolutionary patience of people who have been working on this issue for a long time, because it has been the urgency of people actually dying every day, land being stolen, lives being obliterated, livelihoods being obliterated. All of that has been going on day after day for years, and the capacity to sort of work with patients and continue to believe that change can come, I think is truly one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen in action. So I want to thank you for that. Um, as far as what got me involved in this, um, I think one was just my sheer, on October 7th, it was clear what was going to happen. I think if you've been paying attention to Israeli policy in the West Bank and Gaza for any length of time, it was clear that Israel was about to kill tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people, in order to and use October 7th as an excuse to take more land, because fundamentally that's what this project is about. It was shocking to me that that analysis was not shared by many people who claim to be subject matter experts who have foreign power over American foreign policy. Um, and that continues to be disputed. I mean, that fundamental and obvious truth continues to be obscured by American media. And I think my fury at that overwhelmed my anxiety about whatever consequences I might endure. But also, I don't know, honestly, who gives a shit? It's not that it's not really it's not relevant. Um, but also, I just want to say to everyone on this call, especially Americans, you know, our democracy is sort of in shambles. I think it feels like when we keep pulling the vote lever and we don't keep not getting the thing that we want. And it's actually necessary, I think, at a time like this, to continue to believe in democracy and continue to not necessarily just do the same thing over again, but continue to believe that the process, the ideal of democracy can still deliver the outcomes that we need. It can still actually work for us. And you all on this call are the people who are actually carrying that flame, I think. You are the people who are actually holding it down for American democracy. And it's crucial. It's crucial today, it's crucial tomorrow, and it's crucial, I think, over the coming years as we try to persuade the Democratic Party to give up its addiction to AIPAC money, to donor money of various sorts, and actually start representing people and what they want. I mean, the statistics you cited at the top of this call, it's very clear that Democratic voters do not want to be aligned with Israel and the Zionist project. Um, So we have to convince our representatives by primarying them, uh, and by calling, by raising awareness and bringing attention to this issue, that they have to wean themselves off that the donor money that solidifies this position in election cycle after election cycle. So yeah, I'm grateful to all of you for being here. Um, I, I, I think part of what has happened over the course of the last almost 2 years is that there is the construction of a kind of collective we that stands against what is happening in Israel, in Palestine, and that is something that we all have to hold on to, because I think that thing that has been built is actually one of the most vital, if not the most vital, political tendency, and certainly in the USA and maybe I think globally, because it's the movement that stands for international law, that stands for humanity, that stands for compassion, and that stands against warfare. And I think moving forward, think that those we are going to be challenged to defend that kind of basic humanity uh, in the next century. I think that may be the terrain of struggle. So anyway, I'm grateful to all of you. Grateful to you for having me, and good luck, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Morgan. We're really so appreciative of everything that you do. And yeah, just all of you. Thank you, Cynthia, Denée, and Morgan, for using your platform, using your voices, for joining us. You know, despite all the repression, despite all the pushback, despite the losses, I'm sure that you won't speak about, but are there. We thank you for having that courage, because you're such rare voices in this industry, and we're just really grateful to have you with us. And we want to put people to work. They don't get just to look at your beautiful faces and walk away. Now they have to do something. And I'm going to turn it over to my dear friend at Jewish Voice for Peace Action, Beth Miller, who is going to make a pitch about why making calls to Congress, especially right now, is so critical. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you, Cynthia, Denée, Morgan, the entire AJP team and USCPR team that organized this call. I'm incredibly grateful and incredibly moved to see almost 1,000 people on the call this morning. Why should we call Congress? I was asked to pitch to you why we should call Congress. And I think it is worth saying that many of you have probably heard me tell you to call Congress every day for almost 2 years or longer. And you might be really sick and tired of hearing me say it, but I want to pitch it again. I want to pitch it again because, first and foremost, the situation continues to only get worse and worse in Gaza. And as long as that is the case, and as long as it is the case that the US government is arming and funding this genocide, we do not have the right to sit back and decide that we are done pressuring our members of Congress. That's honestly the most important reason, is that we are obligated to use our voices to push them. They don't deserve for their phones to go quiet. That's what they want. What they want is for us to feel like, I've called every day for almost 2 years and they haven't moved yet. I'm done calling. That is what they want. What we want is for their phones to be ringing off the hook, so that they cannot move through the business of their day without hearing from their constituents that they demand that we stop sending weapons and military funds to this genocidal government that is using starvation as a weapon of genocide and war against 2 million people. It's our government that's doing this. That means it's us that have to speak out to demand an end to it. The other reason is that we are at a point where more and more members of Congress are finally feeling that pressure start to boil up to a point where they are saying something. Just over the last week or 2 weeks, 5 new members of Congress joined Congresswoman Delia Ramirez's Block the Bombs Act that would stop sending bombs and weapons to the Israeli government. A few weeks before that, 27 senators voted to block weapons to the Israeli government. That's over half of Democratic senators. And what I want to kind of just remind us all is that we, as organizers, as activists, always have to remember that there are multiple things that are true at once and that we hold to be true at once. On the one hand, it is shameful, it is pathetic that not every single member of Congress is already doing everything in their power to stop these bombs. And at the same time, it is also true that our movement's organizing and our unwillingness to stop calling and pressuring them has brought it to the point where we have historic numbers of members of Congress who are starting to demand that we block these bombs. And that means that it is on us to use everything in our power, everything we can do to change this situation and make material change so that the weapons stop flowing, because that is when this genocide will stop and when it will end. And so taking 1 minute of your day to make these calls every single day, every single one gets counted, every single one gets tracked. And it does make a difference in taking that pressure on your member of Congress and turning up to a point where they finally feel that they must act. And that is what our obligation is. And it fits into every other thing that you are doing as an activist right now. This is one of the tools in our toolbox that we absolutely must use. And so I'm grateful to all of you and the Adalah Justice Project team. I'm grateful to you all for giving us all this opportunity to make these calls all at once now.
Beth, yeah, you are such a good person to have here and to give us renewed energy. And yeah, just get us fired up and ready to make these calls. So let's transition right now to doing that. We're so lucky to have Audrey Bruner, who is the digital director at Adalah Justice Project. Thank you, Audrey, for walking us through how to take action together.
Yeah, thank you, Sandra. Okay, can folks hear me okay? Yeah, all right. I'm gonna try to make this as easy as possible. So we're gonna be doing 2 things today. We're gonna be calling members of Congress and we're gonna be emailing members of Congress. Sometimes when 1,000 of us call at once, the tool has a hard time. So we're gonna ask everyone to divide yourselves into 2 groups. So if your first name is between the letters A and M, you're gonna make a call first. If your first name starts with the letter N through Z, we're gonna ask you to email your rep first. Halfway through, we're gonna remind everyone to switch if they haven't already, but hopefully that way we can stagger ourselves just a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna walk us through how to call first. So this link is in the slides. It will also be in the chat. So you're gonna go here. There's a little bit of information about why we're taking action, but really what you need to do is put your phone number in here. So right now it's recognizing me because I've made calls before. It might do that for you as well. If the name is wrong for some reason, make sure you click here and then it will allow you to start from the beginning and fill out all of this information. Once you put in your phone number, the script is down here. We'll also have it up on the screen for you, but I definitely recommend just doing a quick read through before you call. Because it's nice to just have it there. I say when you call, but you'll get this call from us. You'll hear a little recording that will tell you what to do. You're gonna hit the star key to be directed to the first office. So you'll get the call, read this through, click the star key, you'll get you to your first office. You'll leave a message probably, or speak to someone on the staff. And then you're gonna click the star key again to get to your next rep. And it should go in the order here. We have 2 different messages for people in the House and people in the Senate. For the House, we're asking them to co-sponsor the Block the Bombs Act that Beth was talking about. And for senators, we don't have a similar bill that we're trying to get people to co-sponsor right now, but we did have a recent vote where people had the opportunity to vote on blocking weapon sales to Israel. And we have this list of people that voted to block the weapons. So we're asking you, when you see your senators up here, to check and see if they're on this list down here. If they are, then this is going to be a thank you call. So in the voicemail, or if you're talking to the staffer, tell them thank you for your vote. We know these thank you calls are just as important as the calls to ask them to do the right thing, so that they know their base is supporting them and they're encouraged to stick with it and, you know, continue standing with us. That's it. That's the call. Now I'm going to show you what to do if that doesn't work. We're going to put this link in the chat as well. This, you can also get to it by just Googling how to find your representative. But this is a site where you can just put in your zip code and find your reps. I know mine, but you might have to enter your street address as well. Once you do, you'll see their photos and a link to go to their website, and it should be easy to find their phone number from there. And I think it's actually a little easier this way. So hold on. Great. Okay, it's taking too long, but you should, once you get through and get to the person, there's sometimes on this site, it will tell you their phone number, so you don't have to go try to find it on their own website. Hopefully they're making it clear how to contact them. Anyway, so again, if your first name starts in the first half of the alphabet, that's what you'll be doing first. And then you'll move to doing these emails. If you're in the second half of the alphabet, this is where you're going to start. You're going to start with this email tool. Same thing, it may recognize you. If it doesn't, you'll click here. It's asking for my full address. Great, and then it will have an email set up for you. So we really recommend that you change the subject line here so that the emails don't get taken out in the filters. And then you can go ahead and send this email, or you can add your own message to the top, or just make it all your own message. Once you send the letter, it'll take you to your senators, and then that's it. So if you have any questions, we have a Q&A feature, so your questions can go right to us, and we don't lose them in this lovely chat that we've got going. So put them in, and let's get started. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to go to the screen with the links.
Okay, Audrey, thank you. So the first half of the alphabet is making calls. If your last name starts with A through M, make calls. If you're in the latter half of the alphabet, send the emails first, and then we'll give everyone a few minutes to do their action, and then we'll switch. Thank you so much, Audrey. Perfect. Okay, I see a lot of people have made their calls and have done their emails. Let's keep working. Let's get everyone through. 1,000 people will be flooding Congress today, which is really important. If you're having trouble navigating with your device, just know that the script is also on the screen here.
Okay, and I'm seeing in the chat some questions. What happens if your phone doesn't ring? Kat just put the link again in the chat. We have a backup. You're going to click the backup link. So there's a backup call tool in the chat, or find your reps with Google with that link that I shared. So I can put that link in the chat again.
Okay, what do you think, Audrey? Should we try to switch over?
Yeah, so if you're still trying to make a call and you haven't done an email yet, maybe switch now to the email. If you started with the email, make sure maybe now switch over to the call. I think some people are having trouble with the email link. And I think the truth is, we're trying to set up these tools to make it easier for everyone. But if you can look up your reps, they all have a way to email them directly through their sites. And yeah, and unfortunately, the link to send emails is working for me, so I'm not sure what the issue might be.
Yeah, thanks for your patience, everyone. I mean, we're really trying to make this, we're trying to create these tools to make things easier for you. But if you find workarounds, if you find, know how to reach your congressional members directly, that's all great too. Thanks to everyone who's made the calls and sent the emails. It's pretty amazing to see all of the action we're taking together. It really does make a difference, as Beth told us. And, we are breaking through. They need to hear from us because they don't know. They turn away from the polls. They turn away from election results, from primaries that show that the majority of people want our Congress to represent, this end, represent the people's will to end this genocide and to get liberation for the Palestinian people. We can't allow them to ignore us anymore. And so we are definitely making a difference right now. Yeah, I think we're gonna close out, and I'm just really grateful. Audrey, do you have anything to add here?
No, I think we'll just follow up with these links so you can keep making these calls and emails every day, you know,
That's right.
until this ends.
Yeah, we'll definitely send out to everyone who registered all of these links so that you can follow up. Yeah, thank you everyone for taking action today. It really means a lot to us, and that's the reason we came together today. These are not the only things we can do. We have other avenues, as you all know, of taking action, and for that reason, I'm really happy to welcome my friend Iman Abed Thompson. She's with the U.S. Campaign for Palestinian Rights Action. And she's going to give us some other ways that we can be taking action today. Good morning, Iman.
Good morning, all. Thank you so much, Sandra, for your time and effort in this. And to everyone who joined us for this last hour, just deeply appreciative. I think that the fact that so many of you have taken action before and continue to show up just shows your steadfastness and your willingness to continue on until this genocide ends and until Palestine is free. And so I just want to emphasize that I'm still a bit outraged. I think it's wonderful to be in collective, but it's hard not to be outraged in this moment. As we were all here for the last hour, I continue to see images upon images flooding my social media streams of children being killed, of additional journalists being shot at, and more families mourning. And I think it's really important to continue amplifying and understand that all action that we take, be it to Congress or any other institution, is going to be absolutely critical for us to take in this exact moment. So while everyone has been here today for this last hour, let's continue taking action as we go into our day and until, again, this genocide ends and even long after. I want to just emphasize that there are two really important things that we can continue doing. One, as it was mentioned earlier, there was a deliberate attack on a tent of journalists of whom have been reporting on the genocide since day one. And many of them, including folks like Ines, had shown to the world that Israel was already targeting them long before he was killed. And there wasn't much that we could do, but we know that we can continue amplifying his words, his documentation of the genocide and all that. And unfortunately, he has now been martyred. And so it's really critical to continue putting pressure on every single institution that has been complicit in this, not just Congress, but mainstream news outlets that have been complicit in this as well. People who have had the opportunity to speak their truth, but chose to allow the Zionist empire to silence them and have now stood on the wrong side of history. So I want to point attention to a tool that we've been amplifying that's been written out by the Writers Against the War on Gaza, and encourage you all to take action by contacting editors from different news outlets that exist across this country and beyond, and demanding that these editors be held accountable for their inaction, rather, for not speaking the truth, for not doing more for other journalists across the globe, and especially in Gaza in this moment. At one point in time, you would have thought the press vest was as a uniform of security, but it has become a deliberate target. And if folks remember, long before this moment, even in the West Bank, we've been trying to amplify the stories of people like Shireen Abu Akleh, of who were killed reporting through Al Jazeera, just to showcase the escalation in the West Bank. And because Israel has not been held accountable, because these news stream outlets have not spoken their truth, we are now in this position. And so I encourage everyone to take action by uplifting this tool and taking any action that they can take to contact different news outlets. It's going to be extremely critical for us to put pressure on them in this moment. And then moving on, I think one thing that I want to emphasize is that it's really important for us to contact these members of Congress, but it's also really important for us to hound them in any way possible. And one thing that we need to emphasize in this moment is that many of them are home. Many of them are actually closer to all of you than they are generally when they're here in DC. And it's really critical for us to follow them along and make sure that if they haven't chosen to take the right position, that we bird dog them, we disrupt them, we do anything we possibly can to put them on record and shaming them for what they haven't yet done. And so I encourage anyone and everyone to take a look at where your member of Congress will be in the next coming weeks, if not the next day or two, and try to find out where you can actually confront them and put them on the record or on why they haven't supported legislation like Block the Bombs, or why they haven't put out statements condemning Israel for committing this genocide, or any other sort standing by the Palestinian struggle. It's extremely critical for us to call them out on that. And right now is a really important time, especially in this August recess. And so I just highly encourage folks to do that. Additionally, if bird dogging is not your thing, I know disruption can be sometimes quite difficult for some. And I know even for someone who doesn't advocacy, I still find it really difficult to bird dog. I really want to emphasize that it's really important for you to work in coalition with other members in your district. And again, like, go to your member of Congress's office, demand a meeting, sit down with them, or just occupy the meeting, occupy the space. Ensure that people, again, don't deter you away just simply because you want to confront them on Palestine. There is no more time that we can waste. And so I highly encourage you to check out our US CPR Actions Pressure Elected Officials Toolkit. Take the chance to take a look at it, look into some different avenues and tactics that you can take on, and make sure that you use this moment right now, not tomorrow, not later, but right now, to decide on how you want to pressure your elected official. I thank everyone who joined us for calling and emailing, and I hope that you can take this additional action here today. Thank you so much, Sandra, and thanks all.
Amen. Fabulous. So we have 2 additional actions. We are writing to publishers, editors at these media outlets who are absolutely complicit in the genocide and starvation in Gaza. So flood the newsrooms. And then secondly, finding out where our members of Congress are going to be when they're home on August recess. I know that the Weasel, Wesley Bell, will be in St. Louis next week, fresh from his AIPAC tour in genocidal Israel. There are plans to be there and to make sure that he hears the anger of the people, not only for defeating the People's Congresswoman Cori Bush, but for continuing to support this genocide. So, get your community out. Make sure that you're out bird dogging these electeds and making sure that these things go viral, so that other members of Congress can see that they're facing the wrath of the people. So thank you so much, Iman, and thanks to everyone at US Campaign for all the work that you've been doing and for being such amazing partners. We are going to do one last challenge for you. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Rend. Rend, you want to talk to us a little bit about a social media video campaign that is starting to get some traction. Welcome, Rend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sandra, and thank you, everybody. So my name is Rend. I'm at Adalah Justice Project, and I'm in coalition with all these wonderful folks on this call today. So shout out to everybody and all your hard work, and to everyone who joined today. Some of you may know me as official Jake Halal. That is not my real name, but that is my internet alias. So in that spirit, I'm here to appeal to folks to tap into your inner content creator. Something that we've done as a team, something that some other folks have done. Sara Ramirez, one of our very close allies, and we work together. I would consider them even whatever would be more than an ally, much like these folks on this call today, has participated in that challenge. As you can see, this is a screenshot from our team call. We nominated Jewish Voice for Peace. And really the purpose of this is to show folks that you are doing these calls. You don't need thousands of followers. The way that social media works, and the point of this campaign is to showcase that you're doing it, to encourage others to do the same, and to also encourage others to post, right? We want people to know that this is an important thing to do, and posting about it online is not performative. It's not performative to ask people to do something and to show them that you're doing it, to encourage them to do the same thing. So that's really the purpose behind this campaign. So as you can see, it's really simple. You'll just record yourself making your call. Of course, you can protect your private information when you're posting it. Go ahead and tag someone else so they can participate in the quote unquote challenge. And then that way it continues. It can snowball. Again, you don't need a bunch of followers. If you just have 100 people on your list, your friends, and only 15 people see it, and those 15 people all make a call, that's 15 more calls, right? So not everything has to be big, grandiose. Everything we do matters. So we're moving with that spirit. And for social media, we know that you can trick the algorithm to go viral. So just like Sandra was saying, even if you take other actions, it's really important to show the world that you're doing it. So that other folks can also feel encouraged, like, oh, I should do that too. I should go find out where my senator is. I should go make a phone call with a group of friends and we'll all record ourselves doing it. So that's the challenge. Pretty straightforward. You can head over to our page at AJP. Again, Sara Ramirez has participated. Ilana Glazer has participated. So again, it's great if people with larger platforms can do it because then we reach more people, but you absolutely, that does not have to be a requirement. So let's just get the social media buzz going. It's really hard to scroll and see what we're seeing. So it's really important to counteract that with action that we can take. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Rend. There's some questions. It doesn't matter. It can be Instagram, it can be TikTok, it can be Facebook, whatever platform you're on. Just post it. Take a short video on your phone and upload it. It's that simple. And Rend, thank you for being an example for us and for coming up with this campaign. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our hour. I'm really I'm really moved. I feel energized. I started the day thinking, how can we face another day of the news? But this helps. This really does help. And as I said earlier, we haven't done enough to fall into despair. The people of Gaza are counting on us. Every day I hear from friends there who, never are sending messages of sorrow or despair. What they send to me is, today we hope for good news. Today we hope that something changes, and we have to hold on to that because they are holding on to that in the worst possible circumstances. We have so much privilege. We can't despair. We can't allow ourselves to be immobile, to freeze in the sorrow. We have to turn our grief into purpose and keep moving. And with that, I'm just so grateful to all of our guests, Cynthia Nixon, Denée Benton, Morgan Spector. Thank you for lending your star power, your humanity, your souls to this Power Hour. And then to all the partners, Beth at JVP, to Audrey, to Iman at US Campaign, and to Rend. Thank you for helping walk us through some action. And to everyone on the back end, a big team brought you this program. Really grateful to have each and every one of you join us today. Stay tuned for all the links. And we will, follow up with a recording, and we hope you'll share it with the 5 friends who didn't show up today. And let's just keep moving more and more of this in the future. Thank you, everyone.